Hey, this is the Lazy Money Machine, all about generating passive income to give you some kind of financial freedom. My name's Graham Brown, joined as ever by
Eric ten Haven in Jakarta.
Hey, Eric. I've been reading this book. There's a book called The 100-Year Life, which is just out. It's written by Lynda, Gratton, and Andrew Scott. I've got about halfway through the book. It's pretty big.
Okay.
It's a 400-page epic, but it's all about living and working in the age of longevity. Okay. And here's the interesting thing. It's all about, well, here's the fact, right? So let me give you the fact first.
Yeah.
Now, if you have children who were born in 2007 and you've got 3 kids, same as me, sort of one probably about that age, no? Your youngest?
My youngest is 9.
9, all right.
Yeah.
So he's born in 2007. All right. 2007, 2008. So mine was born in 2006. Here's the data from the Human Mortality Database, the University of California.
Mm-hmm.
It tells you the oldest age at which 50% of the babies born in 2007 are predicted to be alive to. So this is sort of the average age at which that generation will be.
Mm-hmm.
And, they'll live to, right? So in the UK and the US, take a guess. What do you think?
They'll grow to be close to 100, I guess.
Yeah, spot on. So in the UK and the US, the UK is 103.
Wow.
France is 104, probably Netherlands about that, yeah?
Right.
So it's much of a muchness. I mean, Japan's slightly ahead at 107. So that basically means if you've got a 10-year-old kid or a 9-year-old kid now, they're going to live on average to 104, 105. What do you think about that?
Well, that's amazing, yeah. I mean, I can understand it. And what's the main cause that they live so long? Is it the food or is it medicine that's going to keep them alive longer?
Sorry, it dropped.
Okay, so my question was, is it the food or is it the medicine that's going to keep them alive?
All of it.
Okay.
All of it. The advances in healthcare, advances in living conditions, advances in sort of general health care, I suppose. But, whatever the reasons are, there's a key takeaway from this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that means that we've talked about this before. We talked about retirement. But the key takeaway for this is that 50% of the people born and 50% of our children are going to live well into their hundreds.
Yes.
Well into their hundreds, right? Being 100 years old is not going to mean anything like it was in the last century, right? It's not a special thing. But here's the thing. Here's a challenge for you. If you live 100 years, save 10% of your income, and want to retire at 50% of your final salary,
mm-hmm.
right? At what age will you be able to retire? So let's work back. So you're going to live to 100 plus.
Yeah.
You're going to save 10% of your income.
Yes.
Every year, put it into a pot. And you're going to retire at least on 50% of what you were used to, which is a big cut, but it's 50%. What age will you be able to retire?
Okay, so now I'm making a wild guess. I think it will be way past 65.
Yeah.
So 80 maybe. You have to work until you're 80 or something like that.
Oh, you've done well today. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't read the book even.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. He's a mathematician. He's brilliant.
Yeah, but that's it. Yeah, I mean, and this is a good thing to think about. So lots of people are sort of putting this 10% either in a retirement fund or they save it themselves or put it in their 401k if you're in the US. And if society is going to live this long and if we're all going to get this old, then it's not going to be enough, right? We need to do more a lot quicker in life to be able to have a retirement at half our salary.
Yeah, that's just half your salary, right? That's not even full salary, right? But it goes to show, doesn't it? The whole system is geared towards a model which doesn't work anymore.
Yes.
I mean, it was geared onto the fact that you'd probably live to your late 60s or 70s.
Yes.
That's what it was built. If you think of the whole thing was probably designed in the post-war era where most people lived probably until they're 70.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole system, right? So that's broken, but we haven't challenged it. That's, 70 years ago. But I think what we're trying to do here, isn't it, Eric, is we're trying to challenge that and say, hey, look, we're stuck with a model which was built on an era which doesn't exist anymore. where people didn't live like they do now. We need to change things. So what can you do? I guess that's the key, isn't it? I mean, this is what we talk about, building passive income as a way, not just to live now, but for the future.
Yeah, but I think there's a more important issue at stake here, and that is that not many people will be educated or will have the knowledge early enough to actually realize this and do something about it, right? And it takes education that's not available in schools. It takes you learning things that are not available, in formal education. Yet, if the statistics in this book are right, a lot of the future of these children is going to ride on the fact that, are they able to build something of their own early on in their lives?
Well, let's do a thought experiment. It is. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, take your youngest, my youngest. They're going to live. It's not going to be a miracle, but they're going to probably live to about 110, right?
Yes.
I mean, they're going to live to the 22nd century. That's what it's going to be, right? They're going to be alive in the 22nd century. Or is that right? Yeah, that's correct. So if they live to 110, let's say they went with the model, which is what everybody's doing now, which is what was the default for everybody, right? Your youngest is it a boy? Your youngest?
Yeah, he's a boy.
Right, so same as mine. Your youngest son is going to live to 110. He's going to get a job in his 20s. He's going to work. Let's say he went with the standard model. He's going to work 40 years.
Right.
He's going to retire at 65. And he's going to be healthier probably than we will be when we're 65, right?
Yes.
Because of advances in healthcare and stuff like that. So he'll retire at 65, which will be 2070, around about then, yeah? In 2070. He's going to retire then, and he's going to have another 45 years to live, which is longer than he was working, right? So his retired life is going to be longer than his working life.
Right.
And he's not going to have a lot of money to pay for it, right? I can't imagine what that's going to be like for most people.
Yeah, it's only possible if by that time he has picked up some of our lessons and has built an income stream that sustains him past that 65 years of age, right? Because his employer is not going to pay for it. And moreover, I think, if we believe the pyramid of the pension schemes, then all the pension schemes are going to come tumbling down pretty quickly, right? If everybody starts to live longer, quicker, that's really going to be a disaster.
Yeah, it's bad news, isn't it?
So,
and then you talk about the pension schemes as well. The key here is your son, my son are going to, what's likely, they're going to move around jobs a lot in their lives. If they'd have a standard life now, they could probably, like most people, they'd probably have about 15 different jobs in their life. So this idea of building up one big pension pot with one employer ain't going to happen.
No.
And they're going to take years off and do different things, and it is a disaster.
Yeah. Yeah. And you might live to be 100, but you don't know what your last 30 or 40 years look like, right? The statistic of just living to 100 is one, but in what kind of quality of life will you have at the end? It might be good, hopefully, for everyone, that we are all healthier and fitter, but if we look at bodies deteriorating, I don't see that that's going to change that soon, right? So you won't have as much energy, you won't have as much stamina, you won't have as much creativity if you're older. So you have to get into the game earlier on to build something that's working without you working, I think, or not?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to take ownership and do something on your own volition, right? You can't expect that you're going to be looked after. That's the key message here. I'd be interested to know what people think if they've read this book, The 100-Year Life by Lynda, Gratton and Andrew Scott. I think it's interesting. It's now becoming a thing which we need to think about, not just for us, but for, our children.
Yes.
If you read this book, be fascinated to know what kind of things you got out of it. So you can hit us up here. If you're part of the Lazy Money Tribe on Facebook, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, love to hear from you. We'll see you in the next episode.